Как тебя зовут и кто тебя послал?
Kraven.
Not one of these Russian guards has a weapon for some reason. This scene does a nice job showing off Kraven's abilities from the beginning.
You were late.
Next time you break out of prison and I fly this thing.
Not giving Kraven a Russian accent was one of the biggest mistakes of this movie. I get what the filmmakers are trying to do with the movie by starting off showing Kraven on a mission, and that's to show off Kraven's ability early on to keep the audience interested in the rest of the movie. But the movie falls flat going into a flashback scene right after it because it just feels like a cheap expositional dump. And that's made evident by how these characters are just thrown on screen without any proper introduction.
We're in the middle of a term at school.
Sergey.
Mom never made us do shit like this.
Sergey, your mother is dead.
So we haven't met the mom yet, and we just met the boys and the dad, and the first pieces of dialogue that we get out of his mouth is, the mom killed herself? I mean, we barely know the characters in front of us, yet we the audience are already being introduced to characters as if we're supposed to know who they are, or how their family dynamic was. This doesn't make the audience feel connected to the characters. And yes, this is rushed character development.
Put the cards away now, Calypso. Your mum and dad will be back soon.
Another weak character introduction and a scene that seems out of nowhere in this movie.
Don't look so weak. Be a man.
You're right.
Wait, he was right about what? This seems like misplaced dialogue. They haven't even talked to each other yet about how they feel about their father. It's been 15 minutes into the movie and the editing has already been terrible. And we've barely seen the animals yet.
Teaching my sons the joy of stalking. And you and your imbecilic voice are stalking me.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you create an antagonist in a movie.
Dimitri, get back.
Damn, this line looks fake as
Dimitri, move!
Wild how when the lion jumps on Sergey, his back hits the ground going to his right side, but when the camera cuts, he's on his stomach facing his left side. I guess another point for the editing. Also, nobody attempts to help Sergey's dad by shooting the lion. And why the hell were they so far away?
Calypso?
Calypso leaves his truck right now because of, reasons. Also, still no explanation as to who this girl is and why she's even here at this moment. I guess that's another point for the character development. Whoa, who the hell called the helicopter? I mean, I doubt it was the dad. It seemed like he found him in the hospital.
Don't leave me with him.
I'm going. I have to.
Why?
I can't explain it.
No, like, he seriously can't explain it. The script doesn't make any sense.
Where you headed?
For Russia.
On this? You on the run?
Yes.
Come on. Come on.
Well, that was easy. Why couldn't he bring his brother again? Okay, I think it's time to look at the editing in the movie. The editing ends up being one of the worst things about the movie. The choice of edits throughout the film when it comes to the movie structure hinders the viewing experience. I mean, there's no point in starting the movie with one of Kraven's missions and then going straight into a nearly 30-minute flashback scene that just seems rushed. I mean, they might as well just started with Kraven's backstory if that was the case. And aside from the pacing, the visual effects aren't that great in the movie. Even though the movie doesn't do a bad job showcasing some of Kraven's abilities, all of the animals showcased in the movie look bad visually. So in all, the editing doesn't do the movie any justice as it ends up taking the audience out of the viewing experience. So with that, the movie earns a 2 out of 5 for editing. This is a nice faraway shot of Sergey beating the poachers. This is a nice action sequence with Kraven killing the guys in the truck.
They gonna get him?
Probably not.
What would you say if I told you? I already did.
The actors and the acting and the dialogue in the movie is ugly. As I mentioned before, the movie suffers from any substantial character development, even from the main characters. I mean, let's talk about Sergey for a second. He's shown to have animosity towards his dad because of something that happened with his mom, something that is never explained, by the way. And then he develops powers, and the first thing he does is leave his brother with his dad to go hunt down hunters to save animals because they're like his dad?
I grew up watching my father put evil into the world. Something happened to me that day you found me. I got as far away from my father as I could. And now I do what I can to get rid of people like him.
What the hell is this character motivation? Not to mention, now that he's an adult, he's now killing people because Calypso couldn't take him down.
Why would you do that?
I've been trying to find you for a very long time. This is my way of saying thank you for saving my life.
And speaking of Calypso, she only exists for the sole purpose of furthering Kraven's story, whatever story that really is. She has no character development, and she was just randomly introduced as a child without any clear explanation as to who she is, or where she came from, or why she's here, other than to just randomly save Sergey out of nowhere.
Hey Gary, it's me Joshua. I'm looking at this movie Kraven the Hunter, and I'm trying to figure out Calypso's character motivation.
Oh yeah, dude, she wants to get the guy who killed her friend.
Right, but Kraven does that in like the first 10 minutes of the movie, so what does she want now?
Oh, dude, she wants to help Kraven because she believes in him now after he killed the guy for her.
And not exactly, because she calls him a lunatic and questions his actions throughout the entire movie.
Why would you do that?
Wasn't he responsible for killing your friend?
Oh, you're a goddamn lunatic, I swear.
So in reality, why is she helping him? Hello?
And the other supporting characters are the same. I'm not even sure what Russell Crowe's character actually does for a living, and even as Sergey's brother in Chameleon, he doesn't actually use his powers in a meaningful way during the actual movie, but only just mocks people throughout the movie.
Father is the only animal that is dreaded. Sergey, it is your father. Come home. I miss you.
Just kidding.
Man should be the only animal that is dreaded. He can do anyone. He's like Chameleon.
And as for the foreigner, his ability is never explained or even really acknowledged throughout the movie either, which makes his character forgettable. And when it comes to the Rhino, he's never seen as a credible threat throughout the movie, and making him the main villain while changing his character was already a questionable decision. So in all the characters are below average in the movie, and the lack of character development hinders any meaningful character connection. So with that, the movie earns a 1 out of 5 for actors and acting and dialogue. If this movie does anything right, it's Kraven's running. This movie isn't watchable at all, but the directing and the cinematography will go in the good category. The directing isn't bad as JC incorporates some nice shots in the movie during certain scenes, while the cinematography does a great job utilizing nice camera work during the action scenes. The directing and cinematography isn't perfect though, as there's numerous shots where the lighting makes the setting look artificial, and it looks like there's green screen behind the actors, which ends up hindering the viewing experience. So overall, the directing and cinematography isn't bad, but it's still not good enough to make the movie rewatchable. So with that, the movie earns a 4 out of 5 for directing and cinematography.
I'm looking for a mercenary, just ran a kidnapping op in London. Moon-shaped scar under his left eye.
The score in the movie isn't bad throughout the film, but it's still not good enough to enhance the viewing experience overall, and actually make the movie better, even though the score doesn't take away from the movie. So with that, the movie earns a 3 out of 5 for music and score.
She took it.
But did she believe you?
Yeah, she trusts me.
How did the foreigner and Rhino know that Calypso was working with Kraven? This is a dope shot in the movie. Look, I get Kraven can basically dodge bullets, but he should have at least been shot once here. Also, why not just have Foreigner here for the supposed trap so he can use his random ability on Kraven instead of having the bad guys just use a bazooka?
Who set me up? Who took my brother?
The Rhino.
Look, this guy's surviving this, okay, cool. But the fact that he only has like 3 marks on him after this fall is wild.
Cute. Will your trick still work when I remove your eyeballs from your head?
Also, how the hell does your trick even work?
Tell me about this.
Kraven finally asks what he's apparently been wanting to know. Why he took so long to ask this question? Who knows? This scene isn't bad with the henchmen falling into Kraven's traps. And I gotta say, the action overall in the movie is passable for the most part. The movie does a nice job showing off Kraven's powers and making the action scenes somewhat entertaining. What hinders the action from being great though is the visual effects making the action less appealing in certain scenes. But overall, it doesn't end up being bad at all. So with that, the movie earns a 4 out of 5 for action. The reason this scene isn't impactful at all is because we as the audience have little to no information about the mom, apparently where she was, and why he's afraid of spiders.
Honestly, I thought that would be harder. 1, 2.
Taking 17 minutes to kill him. Okay, the plot and the story of the movie ends up being ugly. The plot and the story isn't good as the movie makes Kraven's origin story unappealing thanks to the bad dialogue, questionable character decisions, and editing. Bad dialogue such as,
Legends don't die. Now get the fuck up, Kraven.
Gosh, you're really heavy!
What you do for work, exactly?
I hunt people.
to the questionable character decisions, such as Kraven waiting till almost the end of the movie to ask about the potion, as if he knew he would need it in the third act or something, and how Foreigner knew about Kraven and Calypso's relationship somehow. So yeah, it's barely watchable. So with that, the movie earns a 1 out of 5 for plot and story. This whole fight scene is just... Kraven waits until the end of the movie to do this when he's been going against his dad's associates the whole movie.
Hey!
Waiting until the end of the movie to fully show off Chameleon's abilities. Overall, Kraven the Hunter has no redeeming qualities as Sony once again manages to make a superhero supervillain movie that nobody wanted or cares about. Sony is trying to desperately leech off of the success of Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU, and they have failed miserably. All of these superhero supervillain movies aren't going to turn out like the Joker. Instead, they're turning out more like the Joker too. So what does Kraven the Hunter have to offer aside from some passable action and some directing shots? An absolute waste of your time, that's what. Thankfully, this is the last effort from Sony when it comes to making a live-action Spider-Verse. Now it's time to add up the numbers. So the movie ends up with a 2.5 out of 5, and that gives it a D+ rating.
I'll get to the part where I start to give a shit.
You're the boy. No, you were...
You didn't see that coming?
This guy, he came out of nowhere. But I took care of it.
No, go on. You're saying? You didn't see that coming.
Is family. Sergey, where are you going?
Ah, this is funny.
It's what, comfortable? Like old times?
Sit.
You didn't see that coming?